Roses are red, violets are blue. Here's the second episode of Chargers football. As you may have guessed, these videos often explore the different ways the Chargers win and lose games. Man, did they find a lot of different ways to lose or what? This art of losing was especially apparent during the 2011 season. Looking to make it back to the playoffs after failing to make it on the account of the league's worst special teams unit, this season started out quite fortunate, as they had raced out to a 4-1 record in their first 5 games. This was in spite of Phillip Rivers throwing 7 picks in those 5 games and showcasing a negative touchdown-interception ratio. They won those 4 games by a combined 25 points and had the 13th best point differential through 5 weeks. They didn't rank much above average in terms of points scored and points allowed. They just toughened out a pretty favorable schedule to start the year and led the AFC West by a game. Following a bye in Week 6, the Chargers would drop a close game against the Jets team that made the last 2 AFC Championship games, blowing multiple 2-score leads to Mark Sanchez. That was an NFL quarterback. But they would get a chance to correct themselves the following Monday night against the rival Chiefs, a team they already beat a few weeks prior. These Chiefs won the AFC West in 2010 despite going 2-4 against AFC West opponents. After getting curb stomped by the Bills and Lions in their first 2 games, the Chiefs would upgrade to a 3-point loss against the Chargers in Week 3 before rallying to win their next 3 games. As one might assume, a Chiefs win would even up the series in record between the 2 teams. I hope you're ready to familiarize yourself with just how many ways a team can lose a game. For any neutral observer, strap in and enjoy the ride. For every fan of the Chargers, enjoy taking your weekly dose of PTSD. This is the worst fumble in Monday Night history. The Chargers won the coin toss and elected to receive, responding with an electrifying 5-play drive that ended in a punt. The Chiefs would take their opening drive to the San Diego 18 before Ryan Suckup kicked the go-ahead field goal to put the Knights' first points on the board. Phillip Rivers was able to produce on the second play of the Chargers' second drive by fitting in this pass over a pesky Chargers receiver into the hands of Kendrick Lewis for his 10th interception on the season. But on the very next play, defensive lineman Corey Leggett forced a fumble on Chiefs back and secret lumberjack Dexter McCluster, giving San Diego the ball on their own 21. They would drive down to the Chiefs' 26 before another turnover off a tip drill resulted in Rivers' 11th interception of the season. This was getting out of hand for the Chargers, and 4 plays later, the Chiefs extended their lead to 10 after Matt Castle connected with Jonathan Baldwin for a 39-yard bomb in the end zone. Now, if you have no idea who Jonathan Baldwin is, that's completely normal. At long last, the Chargers offense woke up and responded, with a drive that stalled at the Chargers' 38. The Chargers defense would force a punt, but field position was less than ideal after special teamer and linebacker Bron Bird was called for unnecessary roughness, setting the Chargers up at their own 28. But 2 chunk plays to Malcolm Floyd and Vincent Jackson would set the Chargers up at the Chiefs' 24, before an offensive pass interference call stalled the drive and forced the Chargers to kick for 44 yards to get on the board in a 10-3 ballgame. The Chiefs go 3 and out, and Chargers running back Ryan Matthews coughs up another phlegm ball on a tackle from safety John McGraw. Matt Castle gives the ball right back to San Diego on a strip sack by linebacker Travis LeBoy, seriously that's his name, to give the Chargers more outstanding starting field position at KC's 22. 2 plays later, they would tie it up on a touchdown strike from Rivers to Antonio Gates. Just kidding, this was actually wiped off by offensive pass interference on Gates. A sack by Derek Johnson forced the Chargers to once again settle for a Nick Novak field goal. That missed. The Chargers, a team loaded with talent for years upon years in the early part of the 21st century, were underachieving once again, proving that insanity comes from doing different things and expecting different results. They were doing everything right in their quest to do everything wrong. And the Chiefs, who also did all they could to spot the Chargers with free points, took advantage of the Novak shank with a 47-yard field goal from Ryan Suckup to close the half with a 13-3 lead. In the third quarter, the Chargers defense stepped up by allowing 0 points and complemented that with an interception by Eric Weddle. But they also had 3 drives stall inside the Chiefs' 30, only managing to get 9 points out of those drives. The Chiefs would put together a touchdown drive that ended at the dawn of the fourth quarter on this funny-looking touchdown from running back Jackie Battle. That is a character from an 80s action flick or a 90s Sega Genesis game, but nevertheless, he gives the Chiefs an 8-point lead. At long last, the Chargers not only put up more points on the board, but their next drive comes with an actual touchdown. Are you getting this? The Chargers, instead of kicking a field goal, decide to kick a touchdown. The drive is aided by mobile quarterback Phillip Rivers converting a huge 3rd and 13 pass on the run to Vincent Jackson. I have no idea who Curtis Brinkley is, but he scores a 2-yard touchdown run from San Diego and knots the game up at 20 when he hauls in a 2-point pass from Rivers to make it 20-all. And it just barely converts too. Look at that. Just barely hits the plane of the end zone. Refs are pretty cool sometimes. The Chargers defense comes up big, forcing a 3-and-out and getting excellent starting field position thanks to a 31-yard punt return from Patrick Creighton plus 5 bonus yards from an ineligible downfield kick penalty on the Chiefs. At the Chiefs' 48, with 5 minutes left and all 3 timeouts, the Chargers have all sorts of time to carefully waste clock and force the Chiefs to use the remaining timeouts. That is when an illegal use of hands penalty backs them up 10 yards for a 1st and 20, soon turning into a 3rd and 18. But Rivers makes a first down conversion look easy after throwing a strike to Creighton, who put together quite a drive for the Chargers. The rest of the drive resulted in run, converting 2 first downs and forcing the Chiefs to burn their last 2 timeouts. Now all that was left to do was get Nick Novak out and get the Bolts to 5-2 on the year. With a little over a minute left, there was nothing that could stop the Chargers from centering the ball, bleeding out the clock, and kicking the game-winning field goal. There was nothing the Chiefs could do. What the fuck? That theory was true. There was nothing that could stop the Chargers. Except for the Chargers. Plays where the ball is being centered happen like thousands of times per decade, and they always succeed for ending a game or wasting clock to set up a game-winning score. But the quarterback center exchange between Phillip Rivers and his center was completely botched. Rivers could not hang on to the ball and it slipped from his hands, ending up in the hands of Chiefs linebacker Andy Studebaker. I think that's his name. I don't know. I don't care. Also, fireworks literally went off during this play. Why? I have no idea. Phillip Rivers apparently wasn't distracted by them, but they went off. This can't be real. This is a one-of-a-kind mistake. A signature dish only a team like the Chargers can cook. They were literally going to win the game. They were literally going to win the fucking game. Kansas City, who could not stop the clock, suddenly found themselves with the ball and a chance to win the game in regulation. They couldn't, as Eric Weddle collected his second pick on the night. Both teams turned the ball over 4 times, and 4 plus 4 equals 8. Good math. The game was going to overtime, but it didn't matter. When you fuck up a game-winning score this bad, the gods have already decided you are not going to win this game. The Chargers just didn't know it yet. Or maybe they did, and they were too shell-shocked to react. The Chargers get the ball to start overtime. It goes nowhere, and they punt. The Chiefs put together a 7-minute drive that includes a 3rd and 14 conversion, and a 30-yard field goal from Ryan Suckup blocks up one of the most heartbreaking losses of the Phillip Rivers era. I did not grow up a Chargers fan. I grew up a Browns fan, so I resonate with the darkness the fan base has seen. For much of my NFL fandom, I have been a neutral observer of the Chargers. It brings me much joy to see this team constantly battle its way through close games week by week, and part of the joy comes from the Bolts winning these games just as much as they lose them. But longtime Chargers fans do not share my joy. They share eternal suffering. For another perspective on this excruciating fumble, let's bring in an actual lifelong Chargers fan who lives in Denver. His name is Bolt Fan in Denver.
Chargers Chiefs 2011. It's Halloween. It's Monday Night Football at Arrowhead, and just a great environment for some peak chargering. They have to battle through adversity. They're at about their own 40-yard line and have a 10-yard penalty, so now they've got 1st and 20. They wind up at 3rd and 18. Rivers does his hero thing and stares down pressure and completes a 3rd and 18 to Patrick Creighton for a 1st down to the Chiefs' 37. They just keep eating the clock, and they wind up getting down to the Chiefs' 15 with about a minute left. It's 1st and 10 from the Chiefs' 15. Rivers is going to take the snap. He's going to step to his left, center the ball up, and Nick Novak's going to kick a game-winning field goal, and everyone's going to go home happy. Except Rivers' hand, his left hand closes right before the ball gets there. He winds up fumbling. The Chiefs recover. They go to overtime and wind up losing the game. And it's just the victory was there. And then once again, in peak Charger fashion, they wind up giving the ball away. And I think it was one of the least hero ball moments of Rivers' career, because Rivers usually winds up giving games away at the end like that when they're coming from behind or trying to secure the victory. And he does this hero ball thing, and he winds up just hucking a deep ball and throwing an interception and doing something stupid. But fumbling a snap like that when you're going to be kneeling on the play anyway is just, it's something as a Charger fan, you kind of have to get used to. But it's something that, as a casual fan, it's just, you're shaking your head and wondering how the hell that something like that happens. And as a Charger fan, you wind up, throwing your remote through a screen, or just turning it off and laughing to stop from crying, or drinking to forget. What else have I done to cope? I mean, it's just the number of unique ways the Chargers have found to lose have led to an equal number of ways to cope for Chargers fans. And if you're not a Chargers fan but enjoy watching Chargers games, I hope you all are entertained.
This kind of play, where the quarterback can't hang on to a snap, isn't all that rare. In fact, I've seen it happen once in a blue moon. But for it to happen when you're setting up the game-winning field goal, that is a completely different beast. And this wasn't just a play that cost the Chargers the game. It cost them the AFC West. It cost them the division. After dropping to 4-3, the Chargers would drop 4 more games before winning 4 of their last 5 to finish the regular season at 8-8. That record tied with the Raiders and Broncos, but because the Raiders and Chargers had inferior records against common opponents, it was the Tim Tebow Broncos that won the AFC West, doing so despite nearly fumbling it away after losing their last 3 games. That same Broncos team beat the Steelers in overtime of the wild card round, giving Pittsburgh the distinction of losing a playoff game to Tim Tebow. One play changed everything. This play changed the entire AFC West in 2011. Now, I know it's nearly the end of the video, and the title of this video is Worst Fumble in Monday Night History, and I haven't really addressed that part yet. I don't need to. I have seen enough of the Chargers to know that it's probably true. This is the worst fumble I've seen from a game of Monday Night Football. I don't think it can be topped. Had this quarterback center exchange not been botched, the Chargers would likely finish at 9-7, giving them the AFC West crown and completely changing the dynamic of the 2011-2012 postseason. But alas, nice things could not happen in San Diego. Now that is Chargers football. Trademark. Thanks for watching. Take it easy.